Welcome to today's live podcast featuring Just FK. Today we'll be discussing emotional manipulation and suicidal tendencies because everybody doesn't like that shit.
That's really fucked up. Hi, everyone. Good morning.
Holy shit, I'm still tired. A lot of the stuff I'm going to say today is true, and it's also going to probably be a little fucked up. Your host, Kory, and co-host Floy are here to delve into some real deep shit.
First thing in the morning over some coffee because people suck.
God,
people really
they really do
suck.
suck. I don't like them. I really don't. Actually, so did you know that people are actually a lot more empathetic towards animals? Like way more empathetic towards animals than they are people.
Yeah, I can see that. I like animals. I fucking hate people.
Right. Now there's actual scientific proof to back that up if you guys want the thing on that. I'll find that too. But that has been proven. We like animals more than we like people. Why? Animals are going to do animal things.
Yeah,
like eat other animals and be cute as shit.
They're going to be true to themselves.
Right. People aren't.
And they're loyal as fuck if you feed them.
Backstabbing, manipulative assholes.
They are. They are fucking manipulative like a motherfucker.
All right.
And which is why I don't trust people.
No.
I think there's one person in my life that I trust completely and totally.
Your son.
No, not even, because he can be manipulative as well.
He can. I was about to say, yeah. I like him though. Like he's manipulative. I expect it out of him, but he's really good at being an asshole. Your son's actually really good at being an asshole.
He takes after me. Like he can appreciate that. Of an asshole.
I'm an asshole. Like I can appreciate assholeness done right.
No.
There's a difference when you're like a straight up dick. Okay, like in Guardians of the Galaxy, when you get to the end and they're talking about he's like he's an asshole, but he's not 100% dick. I'm like, you know what? I felt that.
Yeah.
Like I really felt that. Oh shit! She found the fucking.
I found stuff. Hold on. I don't know if you guys can hear that.
They heard it. I heard it. I heard that shit. Anyway. But no, I felt that in my core. I'm like, you know what? I totally get that. Like, I'm a little dickish sometimes, but I'm not straight up like, kill people dickish.
I can see myself potentially killing somebody.
Well, yeah, but not everybody.
No, not everybody. But
it's like a straight up solid. No laugh track. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, you, sir, have ruined my life. All right. So
hold on. So I think from now on, when we like cuss or something like that, I'm just gonna do this.
Caw. Yeah. No. People would be listening to an outside track. It'd be easier to just fucking send them.
I'm putting these audio things away.
Yeah. Thanks.
All right. So put away.
How was your week? Let's start there. How was your week?
My week was really shitty, but it ended on a really good note, actually.
That's good. Let me see it.
Oh yeah. It fits perfect. I've never had a ring that fits perfect. So for those of you who don't know, my husband, a very wonderful man, he went above and beyond this weekend.
Wait, did he beat you?
He beat me.
Yeah, see? I know what I'm fucking talking about. That's right.
It was never a competition though, but
it's always a competition. I don't know what you're fucking talking about.
He woke me up Saturday morning, took me ziplining, pushed through his own fears. And I am totally proud of him for pushing through his own fears. You totally got
stuck on the zip line.
I did.
You did?
Yeah, so I had a small accident on the zip line. My glove got stuck on the line directly. And it like stone cold stopped me and ripped part of my pinky nail off, actually.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
Yeah, and I had to pull myself back up the line and, get back onto the platform, which is amazing because I'm able to do that now. I have enough upper body strength to do that, thankfully. I'm thankful that I did not rip my pinky off, though. That would have mangled the shit out of me.
Well, I mean,
that hurt.
That's like 1%.
So anyways, and then he got he was feeling really emotionally vulnerable, so I could tell that he kind of needed something to pep him up. So I went ahead and I gave him the anniversary present early, and then he actually snuck somewhere where he shouldn't have been, and that's how he got his anniversary present. Anyways, so later that night on the weekend, he actually gave me a very beautiful wedding ring from 850 AD, actually.
Anno Domini, for those who don't know. AD actually means Anno Domini.
Yeah, I know.
I know that.
Anyways,
That's weird.
So it's the most beautiful, simple ring that is absolutely gorgeous because it is a traditional Viking ring. And it's legit old as shit. So very historical. Oldest thing I've ever seen in my life.
It is really cool though. Like,
yeah, carbon dated to 850.
It is. It's straight
like
up
I freaking
cool
love it.
Shit.
Like if you like take it off and look at it, like you can see where it was, restored and all of that, and you can see the patina under it, and it's really cool. You can see the markings and everything. Like it is really worn. It's absolutely beautiful, and it's so simple. I love it. So yeah, and it's the smallest ring I've ever owned in my life.
Kyle, you're an asshole. Anyway, yeah. So this entire time, did he give you everything?
He did. What do you mean everything?
Tell me what he gave you.
The ring and the trip.
Oh, okay.
What is there more other than the land in Ireland?
Oh, okay, all right.
So my husband also purchased me land in Ireland, but I won't have it until after all of the COVID stuff. And
you got a square foot in Ireland.
Yeah.
That's kind of funny. You get 1 square foot in Ireland.
That's all I'm worth. I'm not even worth an acre. Just
well, hold up. See, I thought about it. If you just continuously buy square feet for the next couple of years,
that'll be expensive as shit. Considering that like a half acre, like they do in Florida, just to be able to get a half acre, that's almost 2,000 square feet.
And?
No, it's more than that. No, it's a lot more than that. My mouth is sucking this morning. It's closer to 15,000.
And?
God.
Like, buy a square foot.
That's too expensive.
Keep buying square feet. And if you have problems, get some kids, put their shoes in a box and have them grow square feet and just send them over to Ireland.
Oh. So my coworker gave me a birthday present this morning. A mother-in-law time.
I
have no idea how to take care of it.
Okay, put it in a corner, put water in it, you're done.
Okay.
Like literally, like that's see where the lighting is over there next to the what's supposed to be a hat rack that has been converted into a sword and coat rack. If you put mother-in-law tongue like right where that light is for between the window and the rack right there, that's about perfect lighting for a mother-in-law tongue.
So
dim, not dark.
Okay.
Like,
so basically my bedroom at work.
Yes. Let's see. How big is it?
It's pretty big. I guess it can't be up right here.
Oh, that's still tiny.
Okay.
Like,
how big do they freaking get?
The older they get, the taller they are. Okay. But my family in Colorado has one that's like 10 feet.
Oh, holy hell.
Like, they can get really big. If you take care of them properly, they will continuously get big. And the older they get.
So I bought myself a lily, and I already killed it. So you'll probably end up with a lot of time. First of all, lilies. Yeah, it was an Easter
lilies.
I freaking killed it.
Lilies are very hard. You have to make sure that your sphagnum moss is changed out. Lilies are hard as shit.
It was an Easter lily, so it was normal soil.
It's never normal soil, and if it wasn't normal soil, you're not the one that killed it.
Well, I got it from Walmart. It was in normal soil.
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
Like
lilies take so much care.
For those of you who don't know, I actually have quite a large plant collection. I do a lot of like carnivorous plants, succulents. That's a hobby of mine. My wife also this is a hobby that me and her bond over, which I totally suggest you guys, if you got a significant other, find a hobby that you guys can bond over.
See, I thought I had the green thumb, but when it comes to like houseplants and stuff like that, like I can grow food. I'm amazing at growing food. But when
there's nothing wrong with that.
Care of houseplants, I kill them.
Then your lighting is probably wrong. You probably got the wrong kind of soil in your pH balance. Like houseplants are completely different than vegetable plants. Like if you look over there, I've got an Nepenthes that has just been.
I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about.
the pitcher plant on the very end. Okay. All right. That dude has been sitting there the entire winter. Don't put them outside in winter.
Well, obvious. Yeah. They're tropical.
Not really.
Really?
Yeah. Like that. There's pitcher plants that are tropical. You're not wrong about that. But there are other pitcher plants that are a little bit more hardy. That's a little bit more hardy, which is why I bought that one for where we live, because it does get a little cold. Now, if you look at the very end over by the donkey's tail, I have another
fucking donkeys.
The donkey's tail it's a succulent that they get pretty fucking massive, but they lay on the ground and then have little pods that attach to the singular stalk. Right next to that, it's right next to the window. It is a smaller family of Nepenthes that you could find one of those at Lowe's for like $20. They're not expensive. That bastard on the end right there, that's massive, and that's an expensive Nepenthes. The one over there needs a little bit of help, and you have smaller.
Excuse me, everyone. Hi, Claire.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
That's rather interesting. Okay,
yes.
So let's start diving into the topic that
we've successfully woken up and gotten into it. Emotional manipulation using suicidal tendencies. Okay, so first off, don't fucking do that shit. Ladies, you know who I'm talking to.
And learn how. No, it's not.
And there's some guys that do that shit too.
Learn how to recognize it. There's a difference between being legitimately suicidal or using suicidal or self-harm as a manipulation tactic.
Yes. I think I'm going to go ahead and start off with what happened over the weekend so you guys can understand why we're talking about this. Okay, so
I don't want anybody taking it personal.
Right.
And there's a few people in my life that take a lot of what I say on here personal.
Right. So let me dive into this while we're talking about this. Okay. My godson is 13. He's a 13-year-old young man, and he's doing a fantastic job in learning how to be responsible and how to, really just be an actual gentleman. Like he's really learning very well. I'm very pleased with where he's at in his life. Now, over the weekend, this has been going on for a bit. There was a PlayStation friend that he met through a friend, and she had the hots for my godson. Understandable, okay? My godson he's a really good looking kid. Oh God, when he's 18, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Redheaded, born on Valentine's Day, blue eyes. The kid's built like a shit brick house. Like, God, he's gonna be a good looking man. Anyway,
his father is pretty good looking too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But I've got a weakness in my heart for redheads.
Everybody has a weakness in their heart for redheads.
I think it's the Irish in me.
It's something. Anyway, it's the Irish in you. That's your husband.
No, he's English. Fucking Brits. Fucking hate Brits.
Anyway, so he's got this girl who's giving him problems. Typical stalker behavior. Won't stop messaging. It's innocent shit. Now, because he's my godson, of course, I'm going to look at it like this is some 40-year-old man sitting on his couch trying to get a look at some little boy peen.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's how I'm looking at it, because I'm skeptical of all of his friends that he hasn't met in person. And, that's another topic we're going to probably touch up on as well. Now on PlayStation, you have the option. Well, it's not really an option. If they're under 18 and you put in their birthday as under 18, you have to have a parent account. which means you have to attach that account to a separate PlayStation account for them to be able to do anything. So when I set up his and his brother's account, I made sure that it was under my account. I can see every message that they ever send to anybody. Okay. I have complete control over the accounts. Because, well, let's be honest here. I don't trust other people, especially with the livelihood of people I love. So I sat there and I watched how he handled it. Now, let me be completely honest. He had done such a fantastic job at like de-escalating the situation, pushing it off gently, trying to, like, hey, this is playing games. I don't need to do that kind of stuff. He was doing a really good job. But this weekend, she started in, and I think I'm going to go ahead and just read the message to you.
Yes,
because
he handled it amazingly. I was reading over the messages just a
Yes.
little bit ago, and I'm like, that is literally the perfect way to handle this situation.
Right.
And before he reads it, I'm just going to say, if you recognize the emotional manipulation tactics using suicide or self-harm or any of the above, it is okay to say, hey, I am not in a position in my life to handle this at the moment. You need to seek help.
Yes. Now, there is a point where I stepped in to take care of it because I know that he doesn't know how to properly manage it.
Yeah.
This was a lesson.
Yeah.
Definitely a lesson. I let it go on for a little bit so that he could see that people are fucking crazy. Okay. And also understand that you don't have to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Because if you are not mentally capable of taking care of other people's shit or your own shit, you don't need to be taking care of other people's shit.
Exactly.
Okay. It's like, if you can't feed your wife and your kid, why are you going to get a fucking dog?
Pretty much. Oh my God, that reminds me. Just a little side note here.
Okay, short side note.
A tiny little side note. So, my husband came home from his wife's house, first ex-wife's house on Friday, and she is such a crazy bitch. She went having one dog to 5 dogs. And like 8 cats, and she's thinking about getting more, and it's just stop. It's awful. Like you can tell the craze. She's snapping, and it's like watching a very slow.
It's like watching a train wreck. Yeah, you just can't look away.
No, no. I mean, she is snapping bad, and she's not reaching out to anyone or anything for help, and that is an issue.
Yeah, that is an issue. All right, so let me read this message to you guys. Now, understand that it's in, 13-year-old, like, crap speech text. I'm going to do my best to let this flow, but if it doesn't, just, forgive me. So it starts off, I try my hardest not to cry. I act tough, but I'm weak. Everyone I ever loved just leaves. I've been wrapped up for years, and that's just the start. The only person who was like a dad to me died right in front of me, and I feel guilty that I could have saved him, and the only girl who ever loved me is in the hospital. She keeps me from killing myself every night. I cry every night. I have cuts on my wrist so deep that it hurts to look at myself without crying, but I have to stay strong for my mom. I suffer in silence so that she does not have to deal with me. Now, that's the first fucking message of the day. I want to express that's the first message. And at this point is when I started getting a bunch of fucking notifications like ding, 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 ding. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So I looked over, I read this, and I'm like, oh shit, I got to do something. Now, props to my godson. He literally says, why did you tell me that? You don't know me. Right out of the gate. Awesome. She comes back with question marks. Like, why wouldn't you want to know that?
Right.
Like, and I'm like, I don't want to know that.
That is just straight out of the gate manipulation.
Right.
Or trying to use sympathy
and
empathy as.
Now, of course, I called him. I'm like, hey, dude, this is a fucking thing. And he's like, oh my God, thank you. Because he doesn't know how to handle it. Okay. A lot of people don't know how to handle it. Now, he again says, you don't know me. Why would you tell me? She says, because you're one of the people that seems to care. And he goes, why? He's confused. He's 13. He doesn't understand this shit. And she goes, you just do. But if you don't want me in your life, that's fine. Now, again, manipulation. She's using guilt and his empathy to try and control him. All right. I noticed this. He doesn't. Now, this is when I actually step in. All right. This is when, you know, Godfather is like, all right, enough of this shit. I'm not going to let this continue on because this will fuck you up in the long run. Okay. When people put their mental well-being in your hands and you're not equipped to handle that kind of shit, you're the one that gets fucked up. They fuck you up. All right. That's why people go to see therapists. People go to see psychologists, and because those are professionals, they know how to keep that line between work and home. All right.
See, I'm actually really glad that I learned those abilities to cut myself off from
the bullshit.
Interacting with other people to be able to actually help them, because I help people daily. I feel like the majority of my days are spent talking and helping people through their emotional crisis. If
you don't know how to put that line there, you'll end up freeing the beast on the back of somebody's head.
I know, and you know, even when putting those emotional lines up and stuff like that, it can still be extremely draining. So every once in a while, you need that cut off. I'm cutting everybody off. Like that was this weekend for me. I cut everyone off this weekend.
For self-help.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Self-love. Like, look, it's okay.
I do that.
Before you get overwhelmed, that's when you need to take that time away from everything. Yeah. Before you get overwhelmed. Not while you get overwhelmed, because then you've gone too far and it's going to take a lot longer. But if you take like a weekend when you're like, you know what, I'm easily frustrated. That's a sign. If you're overwhelmed, easily frustrated,
and that was where I was getting to the point. I can tell my anxiety, from outside sources were being fueled, and I was very short-tempered with my family, and I realized I was really short-tempered. Saturday morning, actually,
you're the kind of person who starts getting an emotional blockage, and things start to build up when you're not able to go anywhere.
Yeah. Well, not only just not able to go anywhere, but when I'm dealing with, a lot of emotional shit, and like this Saturday, I realized I had snapped at both my son and my husband without even realizing that I had snapped.
Right.
And it took me a while. I think it was like yesterday morning when I was like, that was really a cunt thing for me to do. But my son was whining. I was putting his hair back because he was now able to wear a man bun. And he was whining that I was being too hard on his head. And I was just like, just shut up. I was just thinking.
You got him by the ponytail. Like,
shut up and let me finish this. And then Kyle started chiming in on his stuff because Dimitri is screaming and he's feeling that. And it's just everybody. I'm just like, Kyle, fuck off. I'm like, I don't need your commentary. And it was just a really shitty thing for me to do. So that's what happens when I start having.
But see, here's the thing: you recognized it and you fixed it. Okay,
exactly.
And that's actually what makes us healthy. Do you realize that?
Yeah.
Is that we recognize when we're not healthy.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal. A lot of people don't recognize that they're not being mentally healthy; they're being toxic. And like this 13-year-old, let's go on the premise that she is 13
and not a 40-year-old
and not a 40-year-old man trying to get a look at my godson's penis. That's how I'm taking it now after I read that shit, because no 40-year-old man's gonna have the wherewithal to make that fucking thing or write that sentence. Anyway, so after all that happens, I decide I'm gonna step in, and this is my response. Okay, this is what I told her. I said, "You seem to be extremely depressed. I feel like you need professional help. I'm unable to validate you or help you with your self-esteem. This is the National Suicide Hotline. Please seek help." And then I, of course, typed out the National Suicide Hotline, which is 1-800-273-8255. If you guys need that, that's the number. You can also Google it. It's everywhere. All right. And if you come across stuff like that, give people that phone number. Maybe they need it.
Yeah. I kind of keep some national hotline cards in my car.
You never know.
No, you don't.
Now, it does one of two things. it'll shut them down. If they're being manipulative, like this person, she hasn't messaged back at all because he didn't want her talking to him again. I said, okay, let me handle it. This is how I handle it. Let me go ahead and finish real quick.
Yeah.
This is how I handled it. All right. Of course, he said, I didn't send that because he didn't. I did. And that's about when I was able to actually get a hold of him. She sent question marks and she goes, you think I need help? Now, this is when you're being emotionally manipulative and you get to this point where they're like, hey, you need help.
Yeah.
They're like, oh shit, I've gone too far. Or, oh shit, maybe I do need help. I said, I think everyone needs help at some point. She said, oh. I said, talking about cutting your wrist is past the point of needing help. And she goes, oof, all right, cool, LOL. She's trying to blow it off.
Yeah.
All right, flip the script. If someone's being emotionally manipulative towards you, flip it on them. Okay, it's fantastic reverse psychology. You play into their hands so that they get out.
Mm-hmm.
I said, it's okay to need help. If you broke your leg, would you walk around without a cast? And she said, no, it's not. And I said, yes, it is. And people that tell you otherwise are wrong.
Yeah.
She said, I feel like a freak now. I said, now, if you broke your leg, would you walk around without a cast? She said, oh, no. I said, of course you wouldn't. So why would you do the same fucking thing to your mental health?
Yeah.
Now, I didn't cuss, but you get my point. I said, getting help is never a bad thing and will eventually lead to you being happy. I can't do that for you. I'm not in a place where I can help. And I feel for it's the best for you to fix yourself before refriending me. I have my own issues and lack mental fortitude to give anyone else strength. You said, oh, okay, but you don't have to unfriend me. And I said, I have to for my own mental health. I can't be responsible for someone else's emotions that I haven't even met. Right. Okay. Now, she hasn't messaged back at all.
That's good. That's good. Oh, and on just a quick side note here, my lovely husband Kyle commented, you can also text 741-741 and get a trained counselor that will text you if you aren't comfortable talking.
I didn't know that, actually.
Neither did I.
That's fantastic.
Thank you, Kyle. Now go punch some drywall.
Get a Monster Energy beforehand. But no, see, that's what I had to tell him because he was able to read the messages that I was sending. And he said, I don't even know what you're saying. And I said, I understand you don't know what I'm saying now, but eventually I'm going to teach you what this means. Okay. And that's that. I've always done that. I've always been 100% with him. Okay. And eventually he's going to come over. We'll go over it and I'll teach him how and why I said what I said.
Okay.
But here's the down low. Okay. I said what I said for several reasons. If she needs help, she'll have the resources to get it. I no longer feel guilty.
Exactly.
Okay. If she doesn't need help, she knows she went too far and now someone thinks that she needs help. I no longer feel guilty.
Mm-hmm.
If you're being emotionally manipulated, get out from underneath it.
Recognize the signs.
Yes. Recognize it. Recognition is the biggest one. I let Floy read over those messages and I could tell the first message that she read, the one that I read to you, of course, it's pretty fucking blatant. I saw the look on her face. I'm like, yeah, she recognized it too. But there are people who don't recognize it. They don't recognize it for being manipulation. They see it as an actual problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now,
that's not bad of you. It's not wrong. But you need to be able to recognize when it's manipulation and when it's a true call for help. If it is a cry for help, then help them. But if you are not mentally strong enough to do so, it is not your responsibility to help them.
No, but
give them access to resources.
Oh, absolutely.
But that's it.
Now, here are some signs to actually recognize and teach yourself how to recognize the emotional manipulators. Number one, straight off the bat, is gaslighting.
Yeah.
Learning to recognize the people that are undermining your faith in reality. That is such a big one. If you
hold on, let's get into that a little bit because those are some big terms. So read it over again.
Okay. They undermine your faith in your grasp of reality, which basically means you believe something in your core that happened, but they are arguing with you that it didn't happen the way that you think it did. That is a gaslighting.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like getting people to question their own sanity. Okay. That is a lot deeper into the manipulation when you're manipulating somebody's sanity.
See, and the reason why I can actually recognize that is because
I've been emotionally manipulated.
Yeah, but no, that was living with my mother as a child.
That's so sad.
There. Yeah.
Like, no, like my mother.
I'm an expert with dealing with my family on how to
mental
recognize mental health, but no, how to recognize just emotional manipulators. Period.
Yeah. Now. See, that's something that's so sad to me. Like I was raised, my mother raised me very well. My family is very close. You know, my family is very close knit. It's actually very, very close knit. And you've said that it's weird.
It is.
Okay. Like
it's weird because it's such a foreign concept to me.
Right. If I need help, I literally just call them and it's there. Like I don't have to bribe anybody.
Yeah, but it's healthy mostly. There are still boundary issues.
Oh no, we've actually fixed the boundary issues.
That's good.
It literally what it comes down to is that it's healthy. I'm a married man. My mom just like walks in the door because our family's those people. We just fucking
love you, Ma.
walk into a place.
I do that to him as well. Of course, I knock 3 times and then I'll put in the code.
Yeah, no, like we just walk it. Like I do the same thing to my family. Like I just walk in. And now I've got to change my habit because now I'm a married man. My wife didn't really like it because we almost got caught doing some shit once. And that made her uncomfortable. So then I had to have that conversation with my mom about, hey, we need to call before we come over.
Yeah.
And like, it's, of course, I don't think it's a bad thing to be that kind of close knit with your family.
Well, I mean, it can affect the people.
Right. But see, she's not used to that. My wife isn't used to that. She's very much, she likes her privacy. My wife is very big on privacy.
Yeah. Well, so am I.
And I'm not. Like, I'm a very blatant person. I will walk through my apartment naked with the windows open. Like, I don't give a shit. If you're looking into my house, you're going to see some shit. Okay. And you might not like what you see. So keep your eyes out of my fucking apartment. Like, I can't wait for the day I have nosy neighbors because I'll be sitting there like swinging my junk around next to the TV, dancing to fucking Adam Sandler on his car. Like, I don't give a shit. I'm just swinging my junk everywhere. And if somebody comes up to the window and looks in and sees that, that's their fucking fault because they come up to my window. You shouldn't be looking at my window because you see my pasty white ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God. Okay. Almost skirting the rabbit hole. All right. Another really good sign. Number 2, their actions don't match their words.
Oh, yeah.
Emotional manipulators will tell you what you want to hear, but their actions are another story. They pledge their support, but when it comes to follow through, they don't. They're just simply not there.
I have a big one for that is they'll put it on someone else. They'll use a scapegoat.
Yes, exactly.
It's narcissistic behavior is what it is. Like it's textbook narcissistic behavior. That's what you're typically going to see. You were married to a narcissist, or not married, but you were with a narcissist for a very long time. I think we've all been with a narcissist. That's the person.
What I still find myself drawn to narcissistic tendencies, and that is a really bad habit that I have to break because I'm just like, ooh, emotionally damaged. Let me get a piece of that.
Yeah. Okay. Now the reason
me fix them, and that is a toxic trait in myself.
Okay. First, ladies,
stop it.
Stop fixing men. Okay. Let me give you some advice that my wife gave me. Okay. Because I asked her one day, I said, why did you pick me? And she said, I needed a man that was set in his ways that I wouldn't have to fix.
Exactly.
Okay.
I fucking love that shit.
Like, she straight up just hit me with that. And I'm like, oh, shit. Like, you're with me because I'm mentally healthy. Like, because I'm so set in my ways. Yeah. And I didn't realize it until she said that. And I'm like, oh, my God. Like, I'm not changing for shit. I don't give a damn. Like, that's who I am.
Yeah.
I don't need to change myself because I'm already fucking perfect. And I'm humble. So
He is not far from humble. I love this man to death, but he is far from humble.
So, but no, like I'm set in my ways. I don't need, I feel like I need to change. And if I do change, it's because I decided I was going to change.
Exactly.
So, and that's what she needed. She needed somebody who was set in their ways because she could get the routine. Somebody who's not set in their ways, those are fucking chaotic motherfuckers. Like, I was born and raised in chaos. I enjoy that shit. But people who just constantly change, that's not healthy. Find your balance and then make subtle changes to yourself.
Exactly. Okay. Change for no one but yourself. And what I mean by that is you need to look for your happiness and not depend on anyone else to gain that happiness, because you yourself, you need to be complete. You cannot look for another person to complete you. You can only share your happiness.
Right. Actually, Will Smith said that.
Actually, Will Smith got that from Gandhi.
Oh, did he? Oh, okay. Well, I know Will Smith at some point said that. I didn't realize Gandhi said that, but that makes a lot of sense. That's been a term
that's been said for, decades now.
Right.
Since the whole self-accountability movement started.
Well, I mean, okay, I appreciate self-accountability. All right. I'm very much someone who feels like your actions and abilities should be weighed more than who you are.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. If you are able to do something, if you are doing something, I think that takes precedent over everything.
Absolutely.
That I don't give a shit if you're black, white, Asian, Polynesian. I don't give a fuck about any of that. If you can do the job, get the job. Okay. Or give them the job. Like, let's be real here. It's not 1950 anymore. Get over it.
No.
All right, now that I've touched up on racism, let's get back to what we were talking about.
Number three. All right. They are experts at doling out guilt. Emotional manipulators are masters at leveraging your guilt to their advantage. If you bring up something that's bothering you, they make you feel guilty for mentioning it. If you don't, they make you feel guilty for keeping it to yourself and stewing on it. When you are dealing with emotional manipulators, whatever you do is wrong. And no matter what problem the two of you are having, it is all your fault.
Again, textbook narcissism.
Narcissism?
Yeah.
Narcissistic tendencies.
It's a textbook narcissistic tendencies. But
now
it's
I want to touch on something. You can't just say textbook narcissistic or narcissism.
Well, no, that's pretty textbook.
Yes, but a lot of people who aren't or have not been diagnosed, and it's very hard for the neurodisadvantaged to, for everybody who wants to diagnose.
Okay. I will give you that.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is everyone has a diagnosis, and we can all sit here and look at people and try to judge. We can judge, but stop trying to diagnose everyone in your own head, because that is your own toxic traits coming out on them.
That's true. That is true. If you are diagnosing people while you talk, now that is very toxic behavior. That is the one that I struggle with, because being someone who has a bit of a background in psychology, like my mother had her bachelor's in science was based on parenting and counseling. So she, of course, when you're around somebody that does that, when you're raised by somebody like that, you pick up on some shit.
Yeah.
Okay. And I realized that because of how I was raised, I do diagnose people when I'm talking to them, and it's not healthy.
No.
But I do. I'll sit there in a conversation and I'll pay attention to things. And what's funny is how you can manipulate somebody without them realizing it.
Yes. So let's not do that unless it's manipulation to bring out the best selves or to inspire them to bring out their best selves.
If you guys want to know, there's a book called Dark Side. Let me find out what it's called real quick so that I give you the right book.
All right. While he's looking that up, I'm going to go ahead and move on to number 4.
Well, hold on. Let me, because it's literally in my Audible section. It's no big deal.
Well, we can side note that.
Well, let me get to the point real quick. Okay, here it is. There's a book called Dark Psychology 101 by Michael Pace. Now that is literally it's psychology about how to manipulate people. Okay. And if you know how to manipulate people, it's also easier to spot the signs of people manipulating you or people around you. Now, if you're going to use that for the wrong reasons, I'm sorry I gave you that knowledge. But I think it is a good book to read if you feel like you're being emotionally manipulated or just manipulated in general. I think reading the book actually helps out a lot more than you would think, because it gives you the premise of how they're doing it to you.
Yeah.
That helps out way more than you would think. So now that I got that off my chest, let's move on.
All right. So moving on to number 4, they claim the role of the victim. When it comes to emotional manipulators, nothing is ever their fault, no matter what they do or fail to do. It's someone else's fault. Someone else made them do it, and usually it's you. If you get mad, or it's your fault for having unreasonable expectations. If they get mad, it's your fault for upsetting them. Emotional manipulators don't take accountability for anything. And that is so true.
So true. I'm sitting here and I'm like, wow, some of the people that I've met over my life, like,
like, even dealing with some recent issues. One thing that I want to touch base on is being in control of your feelings.
Yes.
Never allowing another person to control the way that you feel. Mm-hmm. Like last week I was dealing with some major issues like that, and I'm just like, my first go-to was, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. I'm sorry that it is my fault.
That is not an apology. Like, let me just start off. That's such a bitch ass apology when you're like, I'm sorry that you feel that way. Like,
no. It wasn't meant to like that. It's right. Sorry that I made you have those feelings.
That's not an apology. I do that when I get pissy. That's how I apologize, and it's not an apology. Pissy.
I was being legitimately sincere because I internalized that, and I felt that I was the cause of their emotions when it was furthest from the truth, because I realized that I have no place in somebody else's in controlling the way they react to things or how they are feeling. I can only control how I am feeling, and they can control how they're feeling, but it doesn't coincide. And you can say, this person made me feel like shit, or that makes me feel like shit. No. That is your own emotional baggage getting the best of you.
True. Now, I just like to point this out real quick. I was not always a good person. Mm-hmm. Okay. I think that we all go through life and we do grow. Okay. Now, when I was a lot younger, I didn't realize it, but I did manipulate people. Mm-hmm. I'm actually really good at it, which is, I'm not proud of that. It was something that came very naturally to me, but that's also because I'm a product of my environment. We're all products of our environment.
Yeah.
My environment was very manipulative when I was younger, and I learned from that. And that is something that did come out when I was a teenager in my early 20s. I was very manipulative, and I do know how to manipulate people very easily. And it's a lot easier than people think it is. Like, okay, when you're raising kids, okay, this is a little bit later. It's actually very handy when you're raising kids. Manipulation is fantastic when you're dealing with some shit, because it eventually does teach them how to not be manipulated if you walk them through the right process. Okay. Like my godson. Okay. I did the same thing to him. He shut that shit down. Like, it didn't affect him at all. He just didn't want it to happen anymore. Okay. Like, why are you talking to me about this? You don't even fucking know me. Like, that made my heart sing. Yeah. Okay. Because I know that what I did actually helped him. And it starts off by, like, when they're kids, 5 to 12, if they're at a pool and they're playing with something you want to play with, all you got to do is look at something and be like, I want to play with that ball over there. If they drop it, whatever they're playing with, immediately and run to go get that ball, it's because you wanted it. Now they want it. And that is manipulation. You manipulate them to go and get what you want, quote unquote, so you can take what they have. Okay. And it's about teaching them not to do that. Now, it took a couple of years actually to get him out of that phase, because he was in that phase for a while. But once he did, and he realized what I was doing, he actually looked at me and he goes, "You're an asshole." Yes, he's right. I'm an asshole, but it's a lesson. Everything is a lesson. Okay. In a controlled environment, everything can be positive. But it's as long as you are coming about it from a positive point of view and using it effectively. Okay. Now, I taught my godson about manipulation so that he could realize why he was being manipulated so that things like this didn't happen to him. Now, it still gets to him because he's 13. Okay. But he's a lot farther ahead of the pack than his friends are because his friends have all fallen for the same shit. Now they're mad at him because he told them or told her what the suicide hotline was. And yeah, they're mad at him. They're going to be mad. And I told him that. I was like, look, your friend's probably going to be upset about this because she's going to complain to them and then they come back on you. And he's like, I don't care. I'm like, okay, good. Because that's probably what's going to happen. This is what you need to tell them. And he, as far as I know, did tell them because they were mad. He called me. He said that they were mad. And I said, okay, tell them that if she really was suicidal, that she needed the suicide hotline and that you're not old enough to be able to take care of somebody's mental health. Yeah,
pretty much.
Like straight up. That's the thing.
This is going to go on that. Number 5.
Yes.
They are too much too soon. Whether it's a personal relationship or a business relationship, emotional manipulators always seem to skip a few steps. They share too much too soon and expect the same from you. They portray vulnerability and sensitivity, but it's a ruse. The charade is intended to make you feel special for being let into their inner circle, but it's also intended to make you feel not just sorry for them, but also responsible for their feelings.
Right. Now, that's something right out of the gate. This girl was like, I love you. And my godson had no idea how to handle it. That was something that I wasn't able to prepare him for because I know he was going to run into one of them eventually. Okay. And you ladies know exactly what I'm talking about because you see the text that your girlfriends don't send. Okay. You see the real crazy.
Yeah.
Like we know she's crazy. You guys know she's crazy.
Yeah.
All right. And you ladies, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Some men too.
Yeah, some men too. Yes.
Like humans in general.
Humans in general, yes.
Okay, let's get you out of the mindset of
hold on. No, there's no. I'm not gender blaming. I'm saying there is when it comes to emotional manipulation, that is typically a woman's thing.
Oh no, it's very much a man thing too. Like I'm dealing with 3 cases of emotional manipulators at this particular moment.
All right, let's hear a little bit about that.
They're all men. Okay.
Well, okay, men go about it a different way though. Like your typical man is going to go about emotional manipulation in a different way.
Well, see, okay, so not really. That's the thing. Emotional manipulator is still.
This has been my experience, so I could be wrong.
Okay, so from my experience, it's very much equal. Women tend to come off as more of the self-harm thing, like
victims.
Yes. Men also come off as victims, but it's typically they'll make you feel amazing, and then they take that away.
Okay.
And then they will give you that vulnerability, and they will take that away.
Okay, so there is a difference here.
Yes.
They're holding your emotional validation hostage.
Exactly.
Okay, whereas women give you that feeling of being a hero, but you're only a hero as long as they meet it.
And it's actually, and I've got a couple of tactics when I spot emotional manipulators, actually. And it's a very sincere way. It kind of puts the spotlight onto them every single fucking time. It takes that spotlight off of me. So when I'm dealing with an emotional manipulator, I come out of the gate with, this is what I want and this is what I expect. And I just, boom, right there on the table. So I did that yesterday as well. Because I'm tired of the
games.
Yes, I'm tired of it.
This is what people call games. It's not a game. It's actually very toxic. Okay, when you're dating somebody, games are bullshit.
Exactly.
Like my wife didn't play any games. That's what fucked me up.
Yeah. See, and I don't play those either. I'm very much, this is what I want. This is what I want from you. And this is what I expect from you.
That's healthy.
Yes.
No, your tactic for dealing with toxic shit is to put health out there. Like, here's your fucking veggies, bitch. Like,
exactly. I'm always giving everybody the veggies. Now, I will be there to discuss and, talk to whomever needs to talk about, to vent. But at the same time, I expect there to be emotional resolution from that. What I mean when I say emotional resolution, I expect them to come to terms with whatever they're dealing with and work through it in a healthy way to be able to cope with and find that resolution, find the ending to that turmoil.
Now, this is something that's when you're going to start being healthy, if you really want true mental health, like get rid of the depression and all that shit, it requires self-inflection. Okay, to start, it really requires you to go in, figure out who the fuck you are, figure out what you don't like about yourself and what you do like about yourself. I enjoy the fact that I'm very confident. Okay, I don't care about what other people think. I love that about myself. I hate that I pout when I don't get my way. Like,
I pout only in a cute sexual way.
Yeah. I hate that that's the word that I use to describe myself in that situation. I hate it. I hate it because I hate pouting. I hate pouters. But that, of course, is a reflection on other people from myself. So that is something I hate. But once I understood that, I was able to pull myself out of a lot of shit. Once I figured out who I was, what I liked and what I didn't like about myself, I'm able to change it. Okay, I've actually gotten a lot better. I used to pout a lot when I didn't get my way because I was manipulating other people. Now, I didn't realize that at the time. Now, as someone who's come from that, I realize that if I'm pouting now, it's because I really did want to get that, and now I'm a little upset. Whereas before, it's like, oh, I didn't get my way. I'm going to pout to see if I can get it. Okay. And that's a childlike behavior. I think that's why I hate it so much. It's childlike behavior.
Oh, absolutely. Which is funny because it leads your line of thought completely leads into number 6.
God, I'm so good at this.
Okay. They are emotional black holes. What that means is whatever emotional manipulators are feeling, they are geniuses at sucking everyone around them into those emotions. If they are in a bad mood, everyone around them knows it. But it's not the worst part. They are so skillful. Not only is everyone aware of their mood, they feel it too. This creates a tendency for people to feel responsible for the manipulator's moods and obligated to fix them.
Yeah. God, I'm good. So let's stop.
He has no ego.
No, okay, all right. Okay. See, that's the thing. Like, I'm very much, when I say I'm perfect, like, that's me joking because I know I'm not. Okay. I know I'm not perfect, but I throw that out there because, fuck it. Who's going to argue with me? And if you do, I'll just tell you that I'm humble. And then that'll confuse you because you're like, you can't be perfect and humble. That's just impossible. And, it's...
it's also important when you're dealing with self-inflection and stuff like that to actually recognize these tendencies within yourself.
Yes. Like...
Because we all have those tendencies to...
Absolutely.
We do that.
It's all learned behavior. This is the thing. It's all learned behavior. So whether or not you feel like you are manipulative, you're wrong because you are.
Yeah. Everyone has tendencies to be manipulative and to be an emotional drain. Even myself, I do that because... I have to train myself to recognize these because when I'm in a bad mood, I'm just like, don't talk to me, don't touch me.
Yeah.
And I have to distance myself because I will fall back into those tendencies. So if I ever go a day where I'm just like, I'm going to cut this conversation off, I will talk to you later.
Yeah.
Those are those days. Or if, somebody who's important to me doesn't wake up with a good morning text, which I'm so famous for.
Yes.
That is a day that I'm just like, you need to stay clear for me because I am being toxic within myself.
Right. But see, you recognize it, you separate yourself and you fix it. Like, and that's the thing. It's really about self-love.
Exactly. And actually my husband asked me the other day, he was like, why are you posting so much music on Facebook lately? And I said, because I'm retraining myself against toxic thoughts. When I'm having that toxic mindset, I will post a song.
Yeah. Now you can Pavlov yourself. For those of you who don't know what Pavlov is, he trained cats to ring a bell whenever they wanted food. Okay. So what you can do is every time you have a good thought, get a clicker. Just literally get a clicker. Okay. Something that makes a noise. All right. Click it whenever you have a good thought. Like every time you have a good thought, just click that button. Then when you get depressed, when you're unhappy, you can click that fucking button and your mind you'll hear it. And your mind's like, oh shit, happy thought. And it'll flood you with all the happy juice that you need. You can sit there and fucking, it does take a while, but it does work.
Yes.
You can Pavlov yourself.
And that's what I do with music. When I'm having a negative thought or something like that, I will immediately turn on music. If I have an obsessive thought, which I do find myself having, I deal with obsessive thoughts, especially from past traumas.
Yes.
And current relationships or friendships or a situation that I don't think was healthiest.
I would say last week is probably the most obsessive I've been in years.
Same. Well, that was just a really bad week.
It was a really bad week.
It started off bad, but it ended good.
Yeah. I mean, I put in like 3 weeks worth of time like last week. I mean, I was at work constantly.
Yeah.
But
you put in about as much hours as I usually put into work.
Yeah.
So about 114 hours a week.
For you though, like it's I'm not going to get into it, but you know what I'm talking about. It's a lot easier because your schedule is set like that.
Yeah.
Whereas for me, it's always out of the blue. It's like, hey, you're working a lot more this week. Buck up, buddy. And yeah, so that's the thing. But let's get on to the next one.
All right. So number 7, they are eager. Well, I can't even speak right now. They eagerly agree to help and maybe even volunteer. Then they act like the martyr. An initial eagerness to help swiftly morphs into sighs, groans, and suggestions that whatever they agree to do is a huge burden. And if you shine a spotlight onto the reluctance, they'll turn it around on you, assuring you that, of course, they want to help, that you're just that you're just being paranoid. The goal to make you feel guilty, indebted, and maybe even crazy.
Okay, so here's how you deal with this one, guys. Somebody says, yeah, I'll volunteer to help or whatever, and they show up and they start doing that bullshit. We're like, you guys know what I'm talking about. All right, everybody's had that one friend who's like, yeah, I'll help, or they don't show up or whatever, and then like, oh, well, you didn't let me know. Just some bullshit.
I've had a lot of people in my life that were like that.
Right. I show the fuck up. You know that. Like, same. I'm fucking there. I'm like, oh God, my back hurts. Like, because I do have back problems. Same. And yeah, I'll bitch about my back while I'm doing it, but I'll get the fucking job done. All right. But when you stop and you ask them, like, well, do you even want to be here? And they say yes. And you're like, why are you bitching so much? Why are you sitting on the couch? There's shit to do then. If you don't want to be here, leave. Uh-huh. This is the hard stance.
And that takes the spotlight off of you and puts it onto them.
Yes. And if they continue to emotionally manipulate you after the fact, just tell them to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just say, I'm not prepared to deal with your emotional downfalls at this moment.
Right. Because there's something to be done. They're taking the spotlight off of what's needing to be done and putting it on themselves. Exactly. It's going to take longer with them there. Okay.
And there's one thing that I have to say. Above all that we talk about, it is okay to distance yourself. And it is okay to fucking say no. It is okay to step back for a moment, evaluate the situation, and figure out if it's not healthiest for you. It does not matter what they believe or what they think or what kind of victim that they want to play. If you are being manipulated, or if you are feeling bad about a situation, if you don't want to be in a situation that you're being put in, don't fucking be in it. It is okay to say no. Simple as that. It's not your responsibility. No, it is. Another person's feelings is not your responsibility, or is not your cross to bear. Right. Leave. Okay. And a lot of people are going to be like, well, so-and-so said they would do this if I... Fuck them. Okay. They're manipulating you. They're literally holding you hostage. Yeah. All right. And if you don't leave, you are contributing to it. Exactly. You're letting them know it's okay for them to do this. That's wrong. It's wrong. It's straight up wrong. Exactly. Leave. And this is one thing to keep in mind. You are inherently good. Your emotions matter. The way you feel is valid because they are your emotions. Right. However, if you are seeking help, that's okay. If you are seeking
what's it called? Validation through manipulation.
Yeah.
That's wrong. You're not. You don't need to seek validation through manipulation. You need to seek honest validation. Okay. If you manipulate the validation, it's worthless.
Exactly. And if you're not getting true, sincere validation, then it's simply not worth your time.
No, it's not. Like,
The
best thing I did a couple of years ago is I cut out all the people I thought were toxic from my life. Okay. And that was about 10 years ago. It was like a decade ago. I felt free. That's the only way I felt free. Once I cut loose of all that shit, I felt it. You can feel the weight fall off your shoulders when you realize you really aren't responsible for their emotional validation. Okay. Now, if you want that responsibility for someone else's emotional validation, make sure you're in the right place to give it, but never be what they need.
Always be what they
want.
Exactly.
Yes. Be what they want, not what they need.
And that is another thing. You don't inherently need anyone or anything.
No, you really don't. At all.
You don't need a man. You don't need a woman in your life. You don't need that best friend.
There's a lot of people I think could really hear that. You don't need someone in your life. You really don't need anyone. Do you want someone? Absolutely. We all fear dying alone. That's a legitimate fear. But at the end of the day,
you don't need anyone but your own honesty and your integrity. And that comes from your own personal self.
Right. We all have a wellspring. Let's this is a metaphor I'm going to give it. Okay. We all have a wellspring inside of us. And if it runs dry, then we need to fill it up with something. Okay. If you fill it up by being around other people, that's okay as long as it's healthy. But if you're filling that up through manipulation and narcissistic tendencies and shit to make yourself feel better, that's toxic as fuck. And if you're doing that, you need to really stop, actually, because you're fucking people up that's around you. All right. And my co-host will be back in like 5 seconds. But we all have that wellspring. Now, I recharge myself. Okay. We all have like a battery. We all recharge that some way. We all have that way that we recharge ourselves. Some of us, we take time alone and, we'll nap or we'll have a lazy day or, something. We'll do something to recharge ourselves. My recharge has been for the last several years, just doing nothing with my wife and sitting on the couch. Like literally, we just do nothing and we sit on the couch and, we'll poke fun at each other for the day. But that's how I recharge myself before I go out and have to deal with other motherfuckers. Because I don't like them. So I've got to recharge myself somehow. And that's how I do it. Because I enjoy being around my wife. It gives me that recharge and I feel wholesome afterwards.
And that's the same with me. Because I know on the weekends, anytime after 10 p.m. Friday, I'm going to see a really good friend of mine. It's going to be emotionally draining. Because it's always emotionally draining.
Right.
Because there are those emotions that are involved there. And then after that, I'm going to go home. I'm going to lay my head on my husband's chest. I'm going to listen to his heartbeat. And he's going to talk my ear off for the next 3 hours and not shut the fuck up because he's happy to see me.
I do the same thing with my wife. Okay, so my wife is actually a really good artist. She's a phenomenal artist. You've seen some of her art. She draws some real creepy shit, though.
She's a furry. She draws some really anime.
She's not a furry. She draws creepy shit though, like inky demons.
Yeah,
like the blackness. And she's really good at it. Like holy hell! Like the creators of Benny and the Ink Machine. If you guys don't know what that is, I suggest you look it up. It's actually really cool. The creators of Benny and the Ink Machine actually follow her artwork that she does.
That's cool.
For Benny the Ink Machine. Like the creators of the game actually follow her stuff because she's actually really good. And like it is creepy shit. Like I think it's creepy. And to get a visceral response through artwork, like that's an artist's true calling.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what they want. They want a visceral response. And my wife is so good. She does comics and all that other shit, but that's how she recharges her batteries. She likes to draw.
Yeah.
Okay. I recharge my batteries by fucking with my wife.
Yeah.
And like stupid fucking pickup lines. Like, I'm married. I still throw out the pickup line. Like the other day I looked at her and I was like, baby, you are the she to my nanigans. And like stupid shit like that that's wholesome. For me, that's wholesome. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, I don't even know how this happened. But last night we watched the Lorax. I like Dr. Seuss. I grew up on that shit.
Okay, so Dr. Seuss books and movies have a very soft spot in my heart.
Yes.
Like that is my go-to when I am like feeling at my lowest. I know I will always pick up a Dr. Seuss book and be at ease. That's my instant happy button is anything Dr. Seuss.
Right. So anyway, we were on the couch. We had just finished watching the Lorax, and we eventually got into the debate about what Dr. Seuss meant. Or he always had he always had a meaning for everything that he wrote.
He absolutely did.
And I was like, okay, what's the point behind one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish? And she's like,
speaking of the different nationalities, that was his point.
Really?
Really?
I never would have guessed that. I was like,
okay. So one thing, Dr. Seuss, a lot of people will claim that he's a racist or whatever.
No,
but he actually fought very hard against the segregation and all of that stuff, and he did it by using his books. And he was completely against a lot of the racism and the segregation and all of that stuff. And using his words, he brought more people together. And that was his the Grinch actually was a fantastic thing against segregation.
I can see that actually.
Yeah, because anybody who was different in Whoville, they weren't the perfect little white sparkly princess. They were deemed unnecessary.
So what you're saying is
from the town.
What was Cindy Lou Who had a thing for black dudes?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a porn about that actually. Cindy Lou Who and the Grinch.
No, your wife was right. There was always other meaning.
Okay, I didn't know that about Red Fish Blue. Like, I get Green Eggs and Ham was about trying new things.
Uh-huh.
Like
not only trying new things, it was not just about trying new things. It was actually again about the whole segregation issue.
Right. Like I get that. But I didn't know that red fish, blue fish actually had like a connotation. There wasn't.
And the different widgets and gizmos and everything that he always mentioned in his books. If you go back, if I don't have Dr. Seuss in front of me right now, but if you break it down and actually overanalyze, and it's going to take an overanalyst brain to figure a lot of this stuff out.
An English teacher. Like, we always had that English teacher in class. It was like, the water was blue in a poem. They're like, so what does this mean?
Yeah.
I was the kid in school. I'm like, the water was blue.
All
and
right.
He's like, nah, it means that he was really sad when the water was white. Like some shit like that.
Okay, so getting wrapping this up a little bit, we are on to number 8. They always one-up you. No matter what problems you may have, emotional manipulators have it worse. They undermine the legitimacy of your complaints by reminding you that their problems are more serious.
Right.
The message, you have no reason to complain, so shut the fuck up.
Now, hold on. There's actually a word. It is, I believe it's Swedish. Don't quote me on that. But the word is sonder. Okay. Now, I'm bringing this up for a very specific reason. The word sonder it's hard to describe, but it's the realization when you pass somebody on the road or the street or sidewalk, their life is just as complicated and has just as much shit going on as yours. And that's the sonder is what it's called. I think it's Swedish. It might be German because those motherfuckers have a word for everything. It's always a Franken word, but it's a word. But sonder is one of my most favorite things because
it's basically dictionary of obscure sorrows.
Yeah. Like people have just as complicated a life as you do.
Yeah.
And realizing that helps us in the long run because we're not perfect. Why are they not perfect? Because they're human.
Yeah.
Like, we're all not perfect. We all have issues. And when you detract from that, when you say, oh, well, your issues aren't that bad, that's ignorant.
Yeah, exactly. And like everybody is going to have issues, and everybody's issue is emotionally valid because that is their own issue. It doesn't matter if they spilled their coffee this morning and they put in their hose.
That could literally
still,
be the one thing that breaks them, though.
Exactly.
Like, you don't know what they're
that could
fucking
be
going through.
Extreme sexual trauma to sex trafficking, from sex trafficking
that's
the
extreme.
way to being held hostage for, an hour or two. It doesn't matter.
Oh.
Hold on, my coworker
I'll
is going to step out just for a moment. He got a sudden phone call, so you're dealing with me. So I'm going to move on because I don't know how to do this by myself. But hi everyone. Okay, so as I was saying, no one's problems is more severe than somebody else's. They may seem severe to you, but hold on a second. Kory, shut your door, please. You're making me lose my train of thought. Thank you. Okay. They may seem emotionally damaging to you, but they are valid. And it may seem irrelevant. I can't even speak right now. Irrelevant to you, their emotional issues, but take the time to ask somebody, how was your day today? What can I do to benefit you? What can I do to make your life seem easier and better at this moment? And I think if we all start doing that, I think everybody's life will be just a little better. And I think that is just really, really important to do. But moving on to number 9. They know all of your buttons and don't hesitate to push them. Emotional manipulators know your weak spots and they're quick to use that knowledge against you. If you're insecure about your weight, they comment on what you eat and the way your clothes fit. If you're worried about an upcoming presentation, they point out how intimidating and judgmental the attendings are. Their awareness of your emotions is off the charts, but they use it to manipulate you, not to make you feel better.
All right.
My co-host is back.
Sorry, guys. Work called. Got to answer that one. Where are we?
I just got to number 9. Emotional manipulators know all of your buttons, and they don't have.
Oh yeah, that's them. Yeah. They do.
That is what we got.
Yeah, those are. Yes, they do push all the buttons, and they don't give a shit. And now your button can be something simple too, like you don't like it when people play your console. You don't like people borrowing your games. They'll push those are small buttons, but they'll push them anyway.
Oh,
and they'll push them in a way that makes you feel guilty for wanting that. Okay, and it's a very simple thing and understandable that you want something like that, but they do it anyway and they make you feel guilty about it. Like in my house, I have a rule. Okay, now we're going to talk about this. Me and my night coworker were talking about this last night because she's having issues with her, sisters and brothers. They're younger, but they go over to her house on the weekend. And the issue is that they literally eat everything and they make a mess and they're done.
Children are famous for that.
Yes, and then they leave. Now they're old enough to know better. Okay, they do know better, but they do it there because she doesn't have rules.
Yeah.
Okay. And I had to sit there with her and I'm like, okay, so this is what you do. It's your house, right? And she said, yeah. I was like, your fucking rules are what stand. Okay. If it's your house, it's your rules. Don't feel guilty about having them. Mm-hmm. So I had to tell her, I'm like, look, in my house, this is how it works. All right. If you are in my house for the first 3 times you visit, you're a guest. Mm-hmm. No matter how long you're there. Okay. If you're there for a week, 2 weeks, or whatever, and that's your first visit, you're a guest. By the 3rd time you visit, though, you're now a family. You get fridge privileges.
And that's why I go to the fridge every single time I come here. I immediately walk over, I grab myself a drink. I'm like, hey, I'm grabbing soda or I'm grabbing food.
Yeah, I don't care.
Start eating. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't care either. That's the rule. Fridge privileges. However,
but it's the same way at my house.
Right. But after the third time, you also help clean because you're family.
Yeah.
You get fridge privileges, but you also have to clean.
I think I broke that cleaning rule after like the first time.
God,
I was
here. Hate that shit. But well, not really. That's the rule. But that's my rule. Now that's one rule. But like I feel like if you buy food, it's there to be eaten. Mm-hmm. Okay. I would rather people eat it and gain sustenance. And if you come into my house and you leave hungry, that's your own fucking fault.
Yeah. You have a house full of goodies. Like, seriously, he is the best stoner house ever. He's not a stoner.
And I'm not me and my wife are not stoners. But let me tell you, like, oh God, I've got so much food in my house. And it's not like that because of COVID-19. That's how it is all the time.
Yeah.
Like I've always got my entire pantry is.
His wife bakes a lot, like a lot. And every time I come over, there are like plates upon plates of food just sitting on the cabinets that she just baked. That's amazing. Yeah. It's probably why I haven't lost more weight than I already have because I'm over here.
Oh God, tell me about it. I actually, I blamed her the other day. I'm like, you keep baking like this to keep me fat so I can't run away. She said no
with a coy.
Yeah,
with a coy smile.
Yeah, no,
and that's not my intention.
That's totally your intention. Like, I love my wife. I hate that I'm diabetic because I can't enjoy her baking as much as I want to. Because
if they're anything like those chocolate pies,
constantly, those chocolate pies are not the worst thing I've had in this household. Like my wife made what's called deep fried chocolate pies. And that was the first time making it, so I'm sure they are. I like the texture. The filling wasn't on par. I'm sure that there's, first time making it's always worth, but they tasted amazing.
The sugar didn't melt down. She should, next time tell her to heat the sugar beforehand.
Yeah, I think that's actually what went wrong. But I do need to say something that they taste amazing. And then she put powdered sugar on top of the deep fried bread with the sugar filling.
I don't know how she herself is not 100 pounds heavier than she is, but she's still the size of my thigh. And it pisses me off because I eat vegetables and fruit and, raw meats all the freaking time.
I'm a fat ass. And like I sit there, I don't eat near as much as my wife does. Okay. Like I need to. My wife eats constantly. Of course, she
eats small portions more often, though. That is the difference.
Yeah, I don't know.
She keeps her metabolism going, and she busts her ass and is really physically
that does help
all the time.
That does help, yes.
Whereas you need smaller portions less often because you're less physically active.
Yeah, well, it's kind of the job.
Yeah,
the job does do that to you.
I know. That's why I bust myself.
See, like I've actually lost a lot of weight the last couple of months.
That's good.
Like, I had to put suspenders on my fucking sweatpants.
God.
That was it. Like I literally, I got up and I had my sweatpants on and they kept falling off because they're like way too big now. And I was like, fuck it, I got some suspenders. So I put those fucking things on my sweatpants and I look like fucking some country hick bumpkin. Mm-hmm. And my wife comes in from work and she goes, "What the fuck are you wearing?" And I was like, "I'm wearing sweatpants."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
God, I look so fucking ridiculous. But I don't give a shit. It's my house.
You know what? You just need a top hat. That's it.
You don't even know.
You know what? I'm going to fucking buy you a top hat for your birthday.
I'd wear it. Wear it.
All right. So getting back on topic a little bit. I think it's really important to maintain emotional distance, but that requires awareness.
It does require awareness. It also requires a little bit of that hard attitude. Okay, yeah. That a little bit of a hardened heart is not a bad thing. You don't want to be a bleeding heart constantly. No. You don't have the emotional wherewithal to do that. Nobody does.
No, and I don't. And a lot of times I tried that. Being a little bit emotionally hard and be like, this is how you can deal with this.
Mhm.
I'm not prepared to deal with that kind of attitude.
Right. Well, I mean,
but
that
here are some steps that you can do to help yourself overcome that.
right.
And at the times, I feel myself feeling a little bit guilty because I am not there to be bleeding heart all the time. But
There's nothing to feel guilty about.
I understand this now, but that's still my own self-doubt that I deal with because I am not there for everyone all the time. Like I said, I come from the extreme trauma background.
Right.
So where all of the emotional issues were put onto me, so I have to be the one to fix everything and everyone.
Right. But see,
and that's what I'm coming from.
Who gave you that? Oh God, what is it?
It's definitely dealing with my own family of origin.
Right. But who said that was something you had to do?
You know, honestly, it's no one who said that I had to do. It was more of,
a learned expectation.
The learned behaviors from my mother, and that is recognizing that, because I remember when I was a child. My mom would constantly tell me, "Why are you behaving like this? You hate me. I'm just going to send you to live with, your father."
Oh God, that's fucking vindictive.
It is. And, every time I would not do what she wanted, it was always, "You hate me." And even still to this day, "You hate me. Why do you hate me so much?" And I'm like, I am just putting that emotional distance because I am not prepared to deal with you. It is, you are not my responsibility.
And this is something I got, I'm very close-knit with my family, and we're still really close. But let me just put this out there. At some point in your life, you literally have to say, fuck your family.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to distance yourself from that. I'm not saying you have to.
Sunday, okay, hold on, listen to this.
Yes.
Say fuck your family. I was very busy. And this is, let me pull up this text message of me putting my family on the back burner because they are not the important ones in my life. At 8:53, I sent my mother Happy Mother's Day. At 12:53, a few hours later, she sent me a Happy Mother's Day back. Okay. Now my grandma sent me a text message, and this is just, what was that? There's a honk. Okay.
Yeah.
Sent me a text message at 2:39. Did you send your mother a Happy Mother's Day? Now they live together. Okay. She knows I did. And I said, yes. My grandma sends me back. She didn't get it. She sent you a Mother's Day note. I reply back. She got it because she replied. And then I sent the screenshot of me sending her a text message and the reply. She says, "Oh, then we must be crazy." And I said, "Indeed, because there is a screenshot for my validation and my proof. I sent it before 9 a.m. We'll tell her." And then I say, "We'll tell her Happy Mother's Day again anyways." My grandma says, "Please call her on the phone." I said, "What's up?" "Your mom has hurt feelings." I said, "Why?" I sent her the same text message I sent you. And then I sent my Aunt Sherry, all mothers that are in my life. My grandma says, "She didn't get it. Just be nice and call her short and sweet. Happy Mother's Day." Okay, that is not my responsibility at all to placate them. So I was like, yes, I'm not in a position today to make calls. I texted this morning, seeing the screenshots of me texting my mother. I
feel like you already went way above and beyond what you should have done already.
This is just how I handle it. I sent this, where was I? I sent you the same message this morning. I'm sorry she didn't get it. Sherry also got the same message. I'm very busy today. I will call when I can. And I left it at that. And that is literally a really good way of how to distance yourself emotionally, because their emotions are not my responsibility.
Now, it
does sound fishy. And that is the way that my family emotionally manipulates.
But see,
and this is why I'm
deal with that.
Such an expert in that, because it's always my fault. And it's my entire life. It's always been my fault that they're feeling the way they're feeling.
Yeah, no, see, and that's emotional manipulation.
It is.
Like, straight up. That's like, I get that. Most of my emotional manipulation has been, exes and bad relationships. Of course, that's where it always comes from.
My
typically.
relationships have been so much healthier than my family.
That's really fucked up.
It is.
Like, that's really fucked. I know some of your exes.
Yeah.
Kudos.
Yeah.
But no, like, okay.
No, so I like being born into the family that I was born into. I had that crash course of dealing with emotional manipulators.
Right. And
so I feel, I'm going to toot my little horn here. I feel like I am an expert, and I overcame my situation of my family of origins to get to where I am now.
You did. I can honestly say that you're actually a lot healthier than most people who come out of that situation.
Okay.
Of course, you've actually put a lot of time and effort into getting healthy. And that's the key. You got to put the time and effort into yourself to get healthy. All right. It's taken me 10 years to get to where I'm at right now. And I could have stopped a couple of years ago and been happy with it.
Yeah.
But I'm continuing to move forward
Never
because
be complacent.
Yes, never be complacent, but also because I've gotten to a point where I can help others. Okay. I want to help others better. So this podcast is a way to do it.
Exactly.
Okay. But I'm not stopping my own education on the subject. We're continuously improving upon ourselves so that we can actually help people. We put it in a little bit more of a crass way.
Yeah.
But
we put it in a way that I feel the majority of average people can understand it.
Absolutely. You're not going to have a fucking degree.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, and that's
we
that's
take
the thing,
those
though.
degrees and we simplify it for people who can understand better.
And we're not calling you guys stupid. We're really not, because the shit that we read, sometimes I've got to research what it means for a couple of hours before I understand it.
Oh God, the stuff that I was researching last night, it was actually funny. It was the link to genetic compatibility and how we are more compatible. It was a conversation that I was having with my Hitler with a pineapple.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to research more into this. So I spent 4 hours last night.
Like smells a big one.
Smell is a big one, and we can actually smell our partner's blood types. And if their smell is not good to us, it is genetically incompatible.
Yes.
And there will not be a genetically superior offspring.
That's actually something like I love the way my wife smells, and she really likes the way I smell without any deodorant. Like, and that's like we love the way each other smells without any smelly good stuff. And like that's actually a big thing, because you can smell your partner's not only their blood type, you can smell their immune system and whether or not that'll complement yours.
Yeah.
And
there's, you know what, honestly, there has only been 2 people in my entire life that I was so attracted to them just by the way they smelled.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so weird.
There's like it becomes almost like an obsessive craving at that point.
Yes,
because it's just like I want this person so much just to be near me. I want this person. Yeah, and it's.
Yeah, I'm sure some of you are thinking, oh, so deodorant is the reason I can't find love. Probably.
Actually, and there's another thing. Birth control has a link to that as well.
Really?
Yeah, it has a huge link because it changes hormonal balances and stuff with your own body, and there is it blocks some of the olfactory things that we have going on, like the sense of smell and some of this taste. And when we meet it's been 90% of the cases, especially in a few case studies. To cite the study, there was a study that was done actually in Jerusalem about this, of the women who went on birth control. It was Manford and, I'm going to have to look it up, and I may post it after this.
Okay.
But
we'll post the study on the Facebook page.
Yeah. Anyways, it was a study showing that women who met their mates while they were on hormonal contraceptives and stuff like that, as soon as they came off of it, they no longer desired that their mates. But when they went on it after they had met, there was very little change in that. But when they had been on it for more than a year, they no longer desired their mate.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's something I didn't know.
Yeah. So it's very.
I mean, I can see that because you're fucking with your brain, you know. And
absolutely, it's absolutely, and I can say without a doubt, without being on birth control, I have a very strong desire for someone's particular scent.
Huh.
And that is what drives me. Like, I could have a t-shirt with their scent on it and I will be completely at ease. It's the weirdest shit.
Well, I mean, we are, animals in nature.
Yeah.
And that makes sense for it to work that way. People who say it doesn't work that way don't understand. Because it really does. We really do pick up on a lot more. Our subconscious is absolutely fucking amazing.
Pheromones.
Yes.
And everything.
Pheromones are a real thing. Like, there's a reason why puberty is such a fucking hassle. Okay. Like, your body's literally preparing itself to fuck for life.
Yeah.
And you're constantly walking around. You see some girl with nice tits. Now you're horny for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it in school.
That's the thing, though. The RH, about that, the RH negatives and the RH positives that we have in our own way. Like, the RH positive with the RH negative woman, 16% of the time leads to genetically incompatible children, which means she's going to be dealing with a lot of her body building up immune systems against that child. So it's hacking the child, and we'll have a lot of miscarriages and hard pregnancies. And you can tell when somebody is really genetically incompatible is when the woman has a really fucking hard pregnancy. And I think they only catch it like 3% of the time.
But makes a lot of sense, actually.
It does.
Okay.
And if somebody actually stopped all of this online bullshit and pictures and all of that shit, and just went based on the smell, you will find your genetic match. You will find your happiness just on your nose. And that is my theory.
And it's funny you say that. In England, they didn't use, when we're talking, way back in England. We're not talking about today, but this is right around the turn of the 17th century. They didn't use any masking scents for their body odor. They felt like body odor was their musk.
Yeah. See, and that's a big thing with me. Like, I love a natural body odor. I love sweaty men. Like, there are certain types of sweaty men, and it's just I am uncontrollable.
Now there's times where the funk gets a little too bad for me. Okay, like I've got to take a shower for me. Like, my wife loves the way I smell up to a point.
Yeah.
There's a point where I go way too far because I'm a man. I got a man funk. Okay, yeah. Women got a woman funk.
See, my smell changes when I eat onions. Like, most people, it doesn't really affect, but I can't digest them in a way because it comes out of my pores.
Are you allergic to sulfur?
I'm not sure.
I would check. You might be allergic to sulfur.
I don't think anybody can be technically allergic.
My grandfather's allergic to sulfur.
Huh. It's just the sulfurous vegetables.
Yeah, it's sulfur in period. He's allergic to. Like, onions, anything that has a lot of sulfur in it will fuck him up for days. Like, he's legitimately allergic to sulfur. That's a thing. Like, I'm not allergic to shit. So
I don't know. So, like, I have a very mild, almost vanilla-y body scent without any perfume or deodorant or anything like that.
We've gotten so off topic. Yeah. Like, we were talking about emotional manipulation. Now we're like body odors and shit. Well, if you guys are just tuning in to Just FK, that's how we roll.
Yeah.
Sideways and down rabbit holes.
Yeah. So. And I hope today's podcast really helps people, solidify recognizing the emotional manipulator in your life.
Well, okay.
And be aware enough to cut that shit off.
That's where I was before we got off topic. Yeah. Saying fuck it to your family. Yeah. All right. Now, if Floy went about her family and we discussed that at length, that's important. But let me just put it in a way, because a lot of people are like, oh, I could never do that to my family.
Oh, I could.
But
I could.
Here's the thing.
It's necessary.
Yeah, it is necessary. Now, I'm not saying never talk to them again. Okay. What I'm saying is don't let them limit your choices in life.
And don't let them dictate how you feel.
Exactly. Okay. You do have to, strong arm a little bit, get that distance and go about and do your thing. All right. Like, that's what I did. That's what young men need to do. Okay, that's what young women need to do. We need to take a step back from our family. Go and find your happiness, build your life. Okay, it's not wrong. There's nothing wrong about it. That's how people start businesses. That's how people find their happiness because they don't have their parents and grandparents and uncles and nieces and nephews in their life constantly dictating what they do. You take a step away and you start marching forward. My brother moved like 7 states away, and that's what he did. Okay, that's how he got out. Now, I'm the oldest sibling. I got to make sure shit's taken care of because, if my grandparents pass or something happens with my mother, someone needs to be here to take care of them in that instance. I'm here, but I'm not here for them every day. If they need help, I will help them, but I'm not going to let that affect my marriage, my job, none of that. Okay. I've found my balance and I will help them, but I'm not going to let them dictate how I do things.
Mm-hmm.
That's so important. Like, I'm not saying have a bad relationship with your family. No, I think having a good, healthy relationship is important.
Oh, it absolutely is. And one of the things to understand is you have to. Oh, my husband's here. Hey, baby.
Hey, babe.
What's up?
On my way to work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
Sorry, got a few minutes to kill before work.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Anyways, what we were saying.
Saying fuck it to your family?
Yeah. Saying fuck it to anybody. Not regardless of who they are. They could be a parent, a sibling, a friend, a wife, a husband. If they cannot be there emotionally for you, then their time is not worth your time. It is not worth
Absolutely.
your effort. And that's what I really have to force myself to step back a lot of times, because a lot of people that are in my life, even now, they're not worth the effort that I'm putting in.
Now,
because I'm not getting my cup filled at the same time.
There you go.
Yeah.
But of course, you can't fill your cup if it's already full. Like, you do have to empty it out occasionally. Give other people emotional support and validation while you have it. But when you don't, take that step back, fill yourself up again, because if you run on empty for too long, you become the person that's the problem.
Oh, absolutely.
And that will absolutely burn you out after a while. Absolutely.
There's a lot of, in our industry, there's a lot of people who burn themselves out at a young age and continue to work it. We know a couple of people like that. And it's a very niche job. There's not a lot of people who can do this for a lot of years.
No.
Like, I know that if something were to pass, then I would just call it quits. And I'm not going to.
I would go back to the industry that I'm actually degreed in, which is programming, arts.
Speaking of going back,
graphic design.
When does college start? Because I would like to.
They're
get
in the
back
middle of a semester right now.
Depends on which college you go to.
He's looking at APU.
They start monthly.
So let's go ahead and end the podcast for today, so we can have a small discussion without the audience hearing.
Yes.
But so thank you so much for tuning in today, and I hope that you guys have learned a little bit of something and are able to put up those blocks.
You know what I like,
and all of the negative forces.
I like the title of our podcast, just Morning Coffee with Floy and Kory. I think we're going to do this a little bit more often instead of titling it and whatever.
Yeah.
Like, we'll put that in the description and whatnot. But I really think just having a morning coffee and just talking about some shit and going down some rabbit holes when people are driving on their way to work. I think that's actually, it's like lunchtime now. So, anyways. That's a thing. But we did start early in the morning.
Anyways, so if you're just tuning in now, I just saw a few people enter the room. If you're just tuning in now, give it a couple of hours to catch the entire podcast, and it'll be uploaded within 30 minutes to 2 hours, depending on how distracted we get. But I'm
gonna do it immediately as soon as I'm done, because the first podcast of the day we go through without a problem. If there's more than one, it takes 24 hours before we can upload the second one, which is why episode 2 or part 2 of episode 8 took so fucking long.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways.
Yeah.
So that's our time for today, and I hope that you find your healthy balance in life.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and talk about us a little bit in the comments. And
Tell your friends about us and people you don't know. Like, I'm sure they'll listen to our random bullshit. Like,
all right, have a wonderful day, and we love you.
See you guys.